All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shells and Shadows podcast. Today I have with me John Paul Kingston. Do you go by JP or John Paul or both?
I go by both.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, John Paul is a men's vitality coach, helping men get into their bodies, really embody their masculinity as a whole. And so, the whole idea of my podcast is that to really step into the fullest version of ourselves, we have to confront our shadow.
Mm-hmm.
We have to step free from like the limitations, the shells that conceal our inner light.
Mm.
And I know, especially as someone who's going into someone else's space, helping them grow, helping them heal, we have to do that work first. So, my
Yeah.
starting question for you is what did you have to confront within yourself before you could step into this work you're doing, helping men become embodied and whole?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I think it kicks it off with a bang because for me, it was a lot of shame. I had to confront an immense amount of shame around my body, around, my sexuality, um, and particularly around an event that happened when I was 13 years old. Um, I was molested by a basketball coach. And that was like something I held in for so long and was so confused about it and uh, took blame upon it all. And I went through this this confusion of why did I let that happen? What does that make me if I let that happen? And then the whole realm of how can I fully be human if I'm holding this in? And so that was something that I had to face, and it took me about 13 years to actually face it, to actually shed it and bring it to the light. And as I did that, so much more began to unravel in my own life of um who am I? Who am I underneath all of these protective mechanisms, underneath this shell per se. So, yeah, man, that was the core of it all. And I mean, since I love this topic about shadow, because since there's been so many other shadows that I'm getting to meet in myself, and it's bringing the unconscious to the conscious is something that is so essential for all of us, but also in this topic of like vitality
Mm-hmm.
and embodying oneself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, man,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing
that's
that.
that.
13 years is a long time to carry something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that age, 13 years old in particular, it's such an important age in a young man's life. I mean, in Jewish tradition, 13 is when you become a man.
Mm,
It's that time where you're becoming a lot more self-aware. You're literally changing from a boy to a man,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't have an experience like that, but I will also say that age of 13 is one that when I do my own like inner exploration, inner work, it's an age I come back to that I have to really reconnect with.
Hmm.
It is that time where you step out of being a boy and step into manhood.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I just created this video about bringing the boy into the light of the shadow and how we can access through the integration of those two things our sovereignty. And 5 to 13 is this boy age where we are picking up and learning so much and trying to identify who we are in this world,
Mm-hmm.
primarily based out of three basic needs, which is safety, security, like love, and acceptance. And in those time in those years, we are sponges. And so all these things that happen to us create who we become. And then when we step into more of this adulthood, this manhood, it's often unconscious. And I love that your whole work is around the shadow because there's still so much for me to learn that I'm constantly learning about. But um, that's become such a pivotal part of my work with the guys that I work with is, hey, these things happen and it's okay. And we often, these shells or these protective mechanisms are based out of survival and just trying to continue to stay alive, because decades ago, centuries ago, if we didn't fit in, then we were exiled. And that was the cost of our survival oftentimes. And so we've picked up these mechanisms to continue to
Right.
protect ourselves.
Exiled or worse.
Or dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, man, bringing these boy parts, these shadow parts to the light. I really am, yeah, embracing, like, I think this is one of the ways in which we can actually meet ourselves.
Mm-hmm. There is something I often like to say, and it's that I've said this to my girlfriend, but also to women in general, that if you're dating a man who can't access all parts of himself, who can't get into his emotions, really open up authentically in a powerful way, then you're not dating a man, you're dating a boy.
Yeah.
And at some point, when I was, stepping into manhood, I started to realize that the adult men in the world, or just in general that we see, aren't always men, though they may appear to be of older age, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're boys living out boyhood at age 40, 50, 60 plus.
Yeah.
Some of our world leaders, right? The biggest CEOs of successful companies, there's a curriculum that a man must go through. And if he doesn't go through it, if it stops, if it's cut short at a certain point, you'll be forever living in that age
Mm-hmm.
of 13, 14, even younger, maybe a little older.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so vitally important for men to realize this necessary just like step in growth.
Yeah. We have a lot of adolescents running our world. And yeah, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that so many of our unconscious parts are just stemming from boyhood. And I think a lot of it happens because we don't have initiation rites in our society. Like, our primary initiatory rite is like getting a driver's license or graduating college or high school.
Right.
And it's like, that is not an initiation.
Right.
We need, like, to bring our men, our boys, into challenging situations to confront these things that we learned, the things that we think that we're supposed to be, and learn how to feel, like really learn how to feel these things and not be attached to them, but allow them to pass through us.
Yes.
And to that point of, like, yeah, if a man can't access his emotions, you're dating a boy. And that's definitely come up for me in a relationship. Like, I don't want to feel this. I'm going to push this away. I want to avoid. And those are my own protector mechanisms that were just coming out because that's what I knew to do that was safe.
Right. And it's not to say that you and I don't go back to that place,
Yeah.
like everyone does. It's just a matter of how much are you living in reaction versus response. If you're constantly going back there and it's not in your control, that's a subconscious program that's hooking you every time a trigger happens in the current present world. Yeah. And it's taking you back there. You could be years apart from a traumatic experience where you formed a certain set of beliefs, and in a moment you're transported back there.
Yeah.
And that's scary. That's true powerlessness. I mean, I'm sure you can think of something that comes to mind. I can think of something that comes to mind for me. And it's becoming familiar and comfortable with that reaction, in extending a loving hand to it, and being our own like loving father to this young child that wants to just protect itself, that we can, say, hey, there's no need to, create chaos, create such a commotion. I'm here. I've got you now. Right. Yeah. That gets into, that's like a whole IFS
totally
inner dialogue you have to have.
Yeah, and it's a skill to build, and I think that's why it's essential to have people like you supporting people, and also containers for men to like come together and train in these ways, so that we start to have access and we can start to
Mhm.
bridge the gap of like, oh yeah, that's my little boy that's just
Right.
screaming for attention and validation, and I can give that to him, and he doesn't need to constantly reach out for that outside of himself, and can cause harm and hurt other people, and whatever the situation is. So um yeah, it's really important for, I mean, like, men's work is coming online much more and more these days. We've got great organizations like Mankind Project and Sacred Sons, and
I've heard of Sacred Sons.
yeah.
Are you part of that group?
I just started. I mean, I've been like circling around them
Hmm.
for a number of years now, and I've done men's circles with guys who are that come from that organization. And yeah, last year, well, 2025 in October, I went to my first Sacred Sons event, and went to another one in December. And yeah, it's potent work, and have built some really cool connections with some of the leaders there, and continuing to plan on going to more. But it's really special when 60, 100 men can come together. And I mean, there's little pods and groups, but group healing allows us to, like, not just one man in the circle, like getting, you know, the work done, or going through a process. Like, yeah, that's potent, but the group around, the people around also are getting that type of, or can have a type of experience of like, oh shit, that's me.
Hmm.
Like, oh damn, I can relate to that.
Like a mirror.
That's, yeah. And I'm really inspired by this like group dynamic. Like, I'm a one-on-one coach. I love coaching one-on-one, and to see one to many come alive, I really believe that in those spaces we can do some deep training, some deep excavation, and take time to like, okay, like, let's go in for 6 hours today
Hmm.
and learn more about myself, and uncover these shadows, and learn how to relate and emote and
Yeah.
express, so we're not just purging it onto our partners,
Yeah.
and having our partners be our source of therapy,
And
which
isn't
is
it isn't
so
it funny that
dangerous.
it's our partners above anyone, right? Because that's the closest relationship to us in
Yeah.
many ways. So, the closer you get to that protector part, right, the more it'll start to fight back. And our partners are the ones that can get that close out of anyone. Um,
Yeah.
but having men, I like what you said, having men in a group, right, to be a mirror for one another, that's the most powerful thing for the person who's experiencing, but also for the person who's witnessing.
Yeah.
I I help run an organization with my dad and some of his business partners called Men's Peer Groups,
Amazing.
and they've taken like the EO-YPO model,
What's
which is
EO?
Entrepreneurs Organization and Young Presidents
Okay.
Organization. So that's essentially peer groups for business owners, right,
Mm-hmm.
that are doing a certain amount of revenue, and they come together, and it's a structured group. And they've taken that
Mm.
model, that structure, but they've infused other sorts of initiatory, um, or just meaningful curriculum into it,
Mm.
where they now build this 4-hour group once a month around the principles of logotherapy,
Mm.
which is, what's your why, right? And I've seen a bunch of 50-year-old, 60-year-old men just transform
Mm.
through my dad working with them. And I'm trying to start a younger group for younger guys. So hopefully that'll
That's amazing.
take off soon. Yeah. But
Yeah.
for older men, especially who have gone their whole lives a certain way, and 50 years of conditioning, and then suddenly they're surrounded by other men who hold that space for them, who can serve as a mirror,
Mm-hmm.
that'll change your life.
It's super transformational.
Yeah.
And especially, yeah, I've witnessed so many incredible things in these spaces, especially with like the older generation, because they weren't really taught or informed about emotional
Hmm.
intelligence, and or even shadow work, or like these like therapeutic modalities that are available to our generation. And yeah, when we heal in those spaces, we not just heal ourselves, we're healing the generations that come before us, or like our sons, or our, yeah. I mean, I've seen it where an older man changes, and then all of a sudden their relationship like immediately shifts with their relatives or their children. And that's the power of it. That's the power of like excavating, going deep, and then yeah, being in that community where it's like, hey, it's safe. It's
Right.
safe to like express and to emote and to let these things come alive.
I've seen that with my dad as he's gone into this work, and he also has been more involved in like plant medicine and all of that sort of stuff. And he's a different person, and our relationship has changed, right? So it's cool to see that, because that's exactly what
That's
you're
amazing.
describing, but on
Yeah.
the other end of it. So to receive that from him is definitely a blessing.
Yeah. And I would imagine also if like maybe you were an inspiration for him to change in ways too. I don't know. Because for me, like,
Sure.
as I've done that work too, I'm like, oh, the relationship that I have with my father also shifts.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a parent yet. I don't understand what it's like to be a parent, and I don't think I will until I am. But I'm sure, as I've heard, you learn so much from your kids, right? You learn so much from students you have. So it is a mutual relationship. It goes both ways, that learning and that growing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's really cool. I'm curious, did your dad inspire you to like get into this type of work around shadows? Or I guess because you said he facilitates some groups and
so
transformation spaces.
he's gotten into this recently, as have I. He actually was a rabbi when I was growing up.
Oh, cool.
And I also had my own journey of, I guess, like my dark night of the soul, where I had a lot to confront, and I did. And then I started getting into this. And so we kind of have moved there at the same time,
Like
but
parallel universe type of thing.
very paralleled,
Yeah.
but not from the same place and not in the same way, which is cool. Him and I are also very different. So that complement one another and what we do. It's very nice.
That's cool. You have a relationship, like a business type of relationship with your dad, and being in those transformational spaces.
Yeah, no, it is cool. It's very powerful feeling just that intergenerational impact on the world, right? Like, I'm not acting alone, but I'm also acting with the people that came before me. I think this plays into that idea of initiation and having elders around us.
Yeah.
So important. And I'd love to hear about what was like an initiation experience for you into manhood. I know you mentioned that you don't feel like we have that traditionally in this world. I'm wondering where you first stepped into that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's interesting if I'm considering it like initiation into manhood. I would say my first initiation was an injury. I tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus playing football, and yeah, it was like a devastating experience because my goal was to go on to play college baseball at that time, and the doctor was basically like, "Hey, like, probably not gonna be able to do this. It's gonna take you a while to recover." And so, yeah, experiencing like that much pain was a psychedelic experience.
Wow.
Because I started questioning my whole reality. Like, who am I without sports?
Emotional pain, also physical pain.
Physical pain, emotional pain. Yeah, this like identity loss. Definitely went through states of depression, coupled with anxiety, and yeah. And then my mom was like, "Yo, you gotta get out of this." And she gifted me a DVD on like yoga and tai chi, and I started practicing that through like the recovery process, and learned a lot about these like I wasn't consciously aware of like shadow per se, but like the power of the mind and like the thoughts that were ruminating through me, like I'm not good enough, or like what else am I going to be? What, all of these just like self-defeating thoughts. And started breathing and balancing myself and empowering myself through more affirmations and mindset. And yeah, ended up like having this really amazing experience where I made a recovery in a few months and went on to go play college baseball and like lived out this dream. And it was it was like this initiation into like, hey, you're going to be faced with hard shit. Mm-hmm. How will you face it? Will you just lay down, or will you stand up and like, take command of life? And so I would say that was like my first major initiation. And then, man, I mean, I've had a ton of mentors in my life. But even then, it's honestly, it was a couple of years ago. I did a vision quest. And yeah, it was 4 days, no food, no water.
Wow.
In the jungle of Tulum. And I had been sitting in a lot of temescals like a couple of years prior to. And so going into the womb, this clay hut, basically, where there's hot rocks, scorching rocks, and pouring water. It's like I learned how to sit with so much more intensity and be in really uncomfortable situations. And so this, like, the next step to that was to do a vision quest. And so doing this vision quest, was one of the hardest things that I'd ever done, and got to like sit with so much more feeling, pain, like emotional pain. Like deciphering what am I going to do with my life, or like what's the direction. And coming out of that, I felt more powerful than ever. And I think when we look at historical, or like, when we look at natives, indigenous populations, it's often these like vision quests that really are this initiatory rite that steps us into a different version of ourselves, whether that's, we call that manhood or something else. I definitely felt like I was a man up to that point. Mm-hmm. But afterwards, like this last whole, I did that in May of 2024, and this last whole year and a half up to that, since then, that itself has been this incredible initiation for me, because shortly after that, actually immediately after the vision quest, I came out, and basically my first contact with my family and the world was, hey, mom and dad are getting divorced.
Immediately after you came back?
Immediately after I stepped out and got on the phone with my sister. Like I did the vision quest.
How old were you?
This was 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was this trip of like, I'm fucking alive. I'm so powerful. I can take on anything. And then boom. Hey, I talked to my sister. She's like, that's really cool. Glad you had that experience. Just so you know, mom and dad are getting divorced. Just like that.
Wow. And
from that point, then all of my attachments and wounds from my parents began to surface.
Wow. It's so, not to like put words to what your experience was, but like it almost gave your quest context, right?
Yes.
Like you, like looking back, because as you're describing the whole story to me, I'm living it one step at a time, like you are, and it's like, oh, that was all a form of preparation in a way, right? Exactly. I mean, what would have happened if you just been going about your daily life and that had happened? Maybe those wounds wouldn't have come up. Maybe they wouldn't have had the space to emerge. They would have just been push it down, numb it down, all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's God. That's the universe at play.
It really is. It really is. And it's been a potent experience, because at first I was like, wow, that was a really awesome vision quest. I didn't really see many visions, but it was the hardest thing that I'd ever done. And then I come out of that, I'm like, interesting. Okay, like, so I'm gonna face this. And then yeah, like this last year was probably the hardest year of my life emotionally, going through breakups and connecting more with my own inner world, and seeing like where a lot of my behaviors came from,
Right.
and my learned behaviors, my protective mechanisms. And I'm like, oh, the vision quest didn't end. It just started. It started after I got out of it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Like the vision quest was preparation for your initiation of sorts, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, man, I'm still being initiated to this
we
day.
all are. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all are. So when you talk about like all these layers you're shedding, what comes to mind for me is this this Jewish idea and Jewish mysticism. It's called Chassidut, and it's the concept that we all have pure light at our core, right? Pure soul, whatever you want to call it. And over time, as we come into this world, we develop layers, shells, if you will, that conceal that light. And then it's our work, in Hebrew, avoda, to really work to shed those layers and return, in Hebrew, teshuva, to that inner light. And so when you're talking about it in that way, that's what I'm envisioning, just things just peeling away, right? Getting closer and closer to the core, to the essence. That's why I named the podcast. That's the shells and shadows.
Nice.
It's that kind of work.
Yeah. And I think it's essential to peel back these layers to allow the light to come into us. And it's scary. It can be scary. It was scary for me. Like, I wanted to avoid it at all costs. Like, no, I don't want to go to the depths. I don't want to go to the depths. I don't like being, I use this analogy. I don't want to be a deep sea diver. And I want to be more of like a scuba, like, what are they? A snorkeler.
Right.
Like, let me just hang out at the top of the water. Like, oh, that's cool down there. Yeah, I see that. But it's safe up here. And the more that I deep dive, I'm like, actually, this world is pretty fucking amazing. And it's really cool to like meet myself, meet these shadows, get to know thyself, like know where these things come from so that they're not running my life anymore. And yeah, and then when we look at like this embodiment world, like men's embodiment, when we meet more of ourselves, when we're able to like actually feel emotions, they stop unconsciously showing up, and we can hold them, and we can hold the feeling, the energy in motion, the emotion.
I like that.
And then that becomes directive in our life. So that's like this idea of like, how do we transmute sexual energy? How do we transmute energy in general? Well, it's like, feel it to heal it, feel the emotion. And then from there, it's like we gain a greater capacity to hold emotion, especially in relating with our partners.
Exactly.
Because women are incredible emotional beings. And that can be confronting to men who just want to project our energy out into the world.
Yeah.
And can we simply hold the emotion? Can we just be like, okay, I see your emotion. I feel your emotion. I don't need to like take this on.
Right.
But
or
I
try
can hold
and like
it.
solve a woman's problems when she just wants to share it with you.
She just wants to be heard.
Which we all do as men.
Yeah, totally. We're such great problem solvers, and sometimes trying to solve too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we can just allow ourselves to be in the chaos of emotion and not need to like be wrapped up in it, overtaken of this, like the swells of the ocean, just like we can ride the wave. Be like,
I love that you use that analogy, because I was in like a meditation hypnosis a few months ago, and I had this vision of me like drowning in a crazy storm, like trying to stay afloat. And when I let go, I became the waves. I became the chaos of the ocean, and it became almost like art, like this beautiful symphony of movement. And I wasn't fighting against it. I became it, right? And in that state, you can't drown. You become the chaos in a way. Like that's holding the darkness. That's really embodying it and not being scared of it, but like becoming all of you, becoming the chaos of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold the chaos.
Yeah.
And with chaos, there's order.
True.
It's like it's like yin and yang. It's the duality.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we can't just live fully in order. We can't just live fully in chaos. But when we know how to hold both of them, then we can bring them together and we meet and we merge and we integrate the light, the dark, the shadow, the enlightenment, whatever it is.
And that's the masculine and the feminine too, right?
Yeah.
Coming together, the order and chaos, yin and yang, masculine, feminine. It's all different words for the same idea.
Yeah.
I mean, you can join in that partnership between all of those things. You find harmony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like the divine union. Like when it comes to like vitality, sexual vitality, it's like, can we merge those two essences together in full embodiment? And I believe that's where we can start to connect deeper with God.
Yeah.
With this God essence.
And you can, going back to what we were saying, like you can only hold someone else's energy like that if you can first hold all of yours.
Exactly.
If you can hold some of yours, you can hold some of theirs. But if you want to really be with a person, know them in all ways, you have to be with yourself and know yourself in all ways.
Yeah.
It starts there first.
Yes, or also be willing, because sometimes we might meet somebody and we haven't met all of ourselves yet, because we're all on our own timelines and paths. But I know for myself, there were parts of me that I was not willing to do that. And I look back, I'm like, man, that could have been an incredible relationship as long as I was willing. As long as I was willing to just be like, okay, I want to meet more of myself.
Yeah.
I want to meet more of myself. Because we don't need to have all the tools figured out. We don't need to like be perfect in order to meet the love of our life, or we don't need to be complete. And as long as like that's the intention of like, I am going to complete myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to know myself fully. I'm willing to do that. Then I think that creates the breeding grounds for that connection, that integration together.
So you're saying it's if the willingness to do it that actually will take you there. It'll take you the rest of the way. You don't have to have arrived there. You just have to be open to it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely like, I've been on my own journey of like, oh, I'm doing the work. I'm going to become complete. And then I'm like, oh, I arrived. I'm complete. All that other shit that you're putting onto me is projection. Really, but it was my own protective mechanism that was like unwilling to look at my stuff. And so I think that idea of like, the idea of like complete yourself first can be a trap, because we're never going to be fully complete. At least this is my opinion. And if we have the willingness to be like, hey, I want to know more of myself, and I know that through this sacred mirror of relationship, my shit's going to come up. Like, it's going to come up regardless, no matter how well we've done the work. So my intention, the accountability point that I'm going to ask is that I show up and I'm going to be willing to look at my stuff. And I think that's where also that like having community, having brotherhood comes into the picture of like, to hold us accountable, to ensure that we're staying in integrity.
Right.
And like call us out on like, yo, bro, your shit's stinking right now. Like, are you sure you're being willing to look at this? And so, yeah, I think willingness is the big thing.
there's this paradox that's coming up for me of you'll never arrive there, whatever it is you're looking to arrive at, this like a completion of your process, you'll never arrive there. It's being able to hold the fact that you are already complete as you are, and yet the humility to say, I have so much to learn.
Exactly.
It's both. And I actually was listening to Ben Duffy's podcast after yours yesterday, and he shared this quote that wisdom tells me that I am nothing, but love tells me that I am everything.
Yeah.
Right. It's holding that humility, that emptiness of, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll never arrive. I always have more. I'll always have a process to go through, but at the same time, I am arriving here in every single moment. Right. That is an arrival in and of itself.
Yeah. And I think that's like the reminder for these young parts, these young boys of like, hey, you're good. Like you're good. You're complete. You're amazing. Like I see you. You're valid. You're worthy. And as we do that, I know for myself, as I do that with myself, I start to relax. And I also love this quote. I love and accept myself for who I am, and I'm eager for more. Mm-hmm. I'm eager to expand. I'm eager to grow, to be stronger, to be healthier. And right now where I'm at it's complete. It is perfect. And so it's like holding that duality, that paradox of being content and also like, hey, I can still squeeze some more juice out of this experience of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's curiosity, right? I want to pivot for a second. I had a question that just came to mind. I want to workshop with you something here real quick.
Sweet.
Since you're a coach and you see people, and I'm sure this is familiar for you, but there's someone in my life actually who's having some struggle stepping into, just say, masculinity, is getting a lot of just negativity from people around him. He's younger. He's in middle school, and the girls and the boys think he's gay, and he doesn't know if he is, if he isn't. And it's hard for him to find like strong male figures around his age range that could be supportive, that can hold him like a brother, you know? And I didn't really know what to say to him. So I guess my question for you is, for young men, right? 13, 14, that age that we once were, who are stepping into their sexuality and are stepping into what it means to be a man at such a lost time, how do they find themselves, and how do they find the strong brothers that can, you know, guide them and move with them?
That's a great question. I think having elders and mentors is a blessing. And even just to have you in his presence, I think is going to be super supportive. Like I always looked up to my cousins and like my older cousins and like the younger uncles. Like, I don't know. There's just like, I want to know more. I want to learn more from them. And so, I mean, if you have the availability, I would continue to encourage you to like just be of support, a listening ear, and let them know that like, hey, it's all good. Like it's a weird time. Like it's like the body's changing, the body's shifting. To not know is okay. Because I grew up thinking that I needed to know. I needed to know who I wanted to be through the conditioning of society. Like, you should know. Like, this is the direction. And it's okay not to know. As far as like surrounding himself with other like-minded individuals, I mean,
it's a hard one.
It's hard. Like, where do kids begin? I mean,
boys that age are the ones that are mature emotionally get it hard. They get it really hard.
Super hard.
Because everyone else, it's going to take another 5 years or so to catch up to that at least. And maybe even then, they'll still feel like, they just have so much depth, right?
Yeah.
That people around them in their social circles can't contain it. That's the hardest thing to witness. And so,
And we take things so personally at that age.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I would just encourage this young man, like, hey, you're fucking solid. Like,
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing, and like, boys will be boys.
Right.
And with this type of maturity, you're becoming a man quicker than them. And
True.
like, you don't need to prove anything. They'll probably see you down the road in like, 10 years and be like, man, that guy had it figured out.
Right.
And it's hard to see that at the time too.
Very.
But yeah, I think that's like one of my brothers, Ra, and we have an organization called the Bro Dojo, where we are merging like these sexual kung fu practices with qigong and like counsel and brotherhood. And yeah, we were talking about like, how can we bring more of this material into like the college sphere, like,
yeah, dude,
to younger adults.
Yeah.
And then I've worked with a lot of people who are like, when I'm teaching these workshops, these techniques, and yeah, these modalities, where they're like, man, I wish I would have known these things when I was younger.
Yeah.
And how can we bring this type of work to teenagers? And that's like, I mean, if we want to change the future, we have to like support the upbringing of the younger generation. And so, yeah, these are like the questions that I'm sitting with lightly. But yeah, how do we create, maybe it's media, right? How do we create more media or spaces like for like-minded individuals to like, hey, I want to get to know myself more. And I want to find other like-minded individuals so I can grow and learn how to like channel these emotions and these energies that are coming up in me.
Absolutely. And it's so rewarding to do that as someone who might be older than them, because in a way, at least for me, when I'm helping out a younger guy around that age range who might be struggling or just looking for guidance, wisdom, amazing practices that they can start to engage in that'll, push them along in life, it's so rewarding. And I feel as if my younger self, right, who was once their age, is saying thank you as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's very powerful and difficult too, to witness some of these guys go through these things in middle school, high school. It's like, it stings a bit. I'm like, yeah, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
But to get, to go down there with them, right, to uplift them, to get into the dirt, it's important. It's important. Young men need mentors, and you don't have to be an old wise 80-year-old with a beard and a staff to be a mentor. You can just you share what you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't need to be Gandalf, although that's really cool, and I would like to be one day in my life. Yeah, we all have wisdom.
Yeah.
And some more integrated and embodied than others. But yeah, it's super rewarding to support a young man. I was a baseball coach for a number of years and got to, work with 13, 14-year-olds. And I think I was probably like 20, 24, 25 at the time. And there's a level of relatability that we can connect with when they're like not parents, like when we're not their parent.
Yeah.
Right. And
cool older brother.
I mean, some of my like coolest mentors were like coaches that were just like, 10 years older than me.
Right.
I really looked up to them, and like they still have a major impact in my life. And what is really cool about this upcoming generation is that it's like a double-edged sword. They have the access to a lot of this information, the media. Of course, it can be over abused and used. But man, I've met some kids who are light years ahead of where I was.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really exciting to see like where these generations, how these generations, some of the kids are, where the trajectory is for them.
Yeah, it balances out, right? For the great amount of struggle, there's also a great amount of gifts and beauty and just like nuggets of light within the generation. My generation, our generation. I mean, I talked to my rabbi about this recently, and just about like where we're moving, what direction are we going in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the outside, there's this view that our world there's a lot of darkness and hate, and that's in part because of the media. But
Yeah.
what he said to me is, you know, one good act, one good deed, one simple thing of kindness today, something that brings light to the world, is worth far more than it did in our ancestors' age. Why? Because we're going up against so much more, right? We have so many more temptations and challenges and vices in our world. And yet, when we succeed in overcoming them, we've gone so much distance, right? We've pushed through that threshold of what could have stopped us, and that's worth everything. So when you say that, I think about how, yeah, like today's upcoming generation, they have a lot of challenges to face. We have a lot of challenges to face, but it means so much more when we push through that barrier.
Yeah, that's really refreshing to hear too. And I believe that there's a lot of good that's in this world.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much good, and it's just often not seen. It's not highlighted.
Yeah, it's a choice to see it too.
It's not on the highlight reels.
Yeah.
And it's a choice to see it, to witness it, and oftentimes it can be a reflection of our inner world. Like, what are we seeing? What are we picking up on? And yeah, there's some shit going down in this world. And I really like, do you know Dr. David Hawkins?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so he talks about, he's got the level of consciousness or the scale of consciousness, and he talks about how, are you familiar with the scale?
Yes.
And like, so at 200, right, it's like the tipping point into courage, from like, from fear, shame,
anger, courage, right?
And pride,
and
then it's courage.
Yeah.
And I think he says, and it's probably changing over the years, but most of the world, like 70% of the population, don't quote me on that, but it's a large portion of the population is operating under the level of 200. And for each person that tips the scale, that goes up into 200, it actually has a greater effect of tipping the scale back to more of the level of enlightenment. So anytime that somebody reaches deeper level of consciousness and they get up to 200, anytime they walk into a room, they're immediately starting to shift the energetic field.
The room's collective level starts to rise when they walk in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how do we increase our consciousness? Well, we get to meet more of ourselves, right? We get to forgive ourselves. We get to get out of the shame. I love this quote that Daniel Eisenman shared many years ago. A joy or a sorrow shared is a sorrow halved, and a joy shared is a joy doubled. And so anytime that we share our shame, we share our guilt, we share our sorrows, it starts to lighten the load a little bit. And then as we access more of the joy, more of the love, the pursuit of like our purpose, our energy starts to build up. And so, yeah, as we live more in alignment and more of knowing ourselves, the consciousness starts to rise. And that's a beautiful effect. Like, we just walk down the street and have this energetic auric bubble that's just like, hey, you guys can relax. You guys can relax. You don't need to be so angry. We can live with more courage, more acceptance, more joy, more love.
I love that you use that example of like tipping the scales, because that is something that, like in my tradition, is taught, right? That one simple act of goodness could be that act that tips the scales of good and evil in the world, right? Towards good. And it's important, I feel, that the work, it's inner work, but it's also in service of humanity. It's also in service of your fellow man. Yeah. Right. It's not just about me. I want to feel good. It's, well, I'm doing this so I can become like a vessel towards goodness, right? And have that impact on others. And that's the key, right? It's you're doing it with that humility involved.
Yeah, man. And there is a karmic, I think there's a karmic level to it all too. Like,
yeah.
What comes around goes around, and we are undoing our karmic deeds from the past. And in the Taoist lineage, as we do the shadow work, as we peel back these layers, we start to expedite the karma that we've accumulated and harmonize it so that we can start to reach levels of enlightenment. And so what that does is it makes the world a better place too. Because we stop coming to if we're looking at that lens, the next time we reincarnate, if we believe in that, we come with less baggage, and we can bring more of the purity of essence of God back into the world.
Dude, I love that we've gone on a full journey with this conversation, right? We started, the first thing you talked about was something around shame, right? And we've ascended in this conversation alone. We've moved through, and yeah, I think that's, from there, you sit back and you just enjoy what's around you, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to that, what is enlightenment? Well, enlightenment is, can I just sit here and enjoy having this conversation, my glass of water, and that be all there needs to be?
Yeah.
So
be in awe with the present moment, the gift that we're all given.
Yeah, man. Let's just start throwing out cliches now. This has been a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on to do this, and I'm looking forward to talking more. For those who don't know, you just started your podcast right here in the studio. So I did. The Cultivated Man, coming soon.
Yeah, really excited about it. Thanks for calling me into it.
Of course.
It was fun to do a podcast here and then speak more about it all. And you guys are doing amazing work, and it just feels good to have conversations about all this and allow that to be spread out into the ethers, transmitted into the world for whoever finds it and wants to listen to it. So yeah, really excited to be starting the Cultivated Man with you guys, or here in the studio. And help men cultivate more energy so we can direct it into our dreams, passions, and desires.
I love it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Before we end here, I prepared a few rapid fire questions for you. So try and answer them in like a minute or less, just whatever comes to mind first.
Nice.
Just a good way for people to continue to get to know you. So
let me sit forward for this.
Yeah.
Bam.
What is one belief about masculinity that you used to carry that you've since dropped?
That I don't need to feel my emotions. And now when I feel my emotions, I feel more whole than ever. But yeah, just to feel like I don't need to feel that shit. I don't need to cry. Nah. I need to cry.
We all do.
Yeah.
In your work, what's the biggest thing men avoid talking about but need to?
I think it is probably sexual trauma, abuse / our shame in the bed. or like with our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see. What's the best question a man can ask himself when he looks in the mirror every morning?
The best question.
Yeah.
Who am I going to be today?
Who am I going to be today?
Who am I going to be today?
I love it. If someone asked you what a primal experience means, how would you describe it in 10 words or less?
Going into nature, getting naked, and screaming from the top of your lungs.
I love it. I love it. So that's your invitation to try it out. Try it out for yourselves.
Exactly. You won't regret it.
Nope. I've done it. The screaming part, but I haven't done that naked. So
yeah, go buy a body of water and just rip it.
I love it. What is the quickest sign that you're drained versus activated energetically?
The quickest sign, drained versus activated. This is a good question. What's coming up is if you're reaching for a dopamine hit of like, especially porn. If you're reaching for porn, if that's like the first thing that you're thinking about, or like you get home and you're like, I don't have anything to do. And it's like you go to porn, that's a sign that you're looking for this next hit of energy. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then what's the sign that, like, what is an indicator within you or within a man that they can look for, oh, I'm activated?
Activated? When you see someone you're attracted to and you don't need to do anything about it.
Wow.
It's like beautiful. And you smile and you go on.
Right. There's no clinging of the mind. Isn't bring stuff up.
Yeah.
But you don't push it away. Like you can appreciate the beauty of life, of humanity. Right.
Yeah. And if you consciously are choosing to go approach that person out of a place of contentment, that's a good sign.
Great.
Yeah.
What is one mistake that men make when trying to reconnect with their bodies?
A mistake. I would say rushing. If you're connecting with your body and you're trying to get to a specific place or an end goal, that I would encourage you to rewire that and simply move to a place of presence and slowness.
Mm-hmm.
And try that for a change.
Right. Enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. What's your favorite way to interrupt shame the moment you feel it rising?
Breathe into it. I think it takes about 7 seconds for us to feel an emotion. And oftentimes we will cognitively feel the emotion and shut it down. So if we can simply, oh, wow, shame is bubbling up. Breathe into it. Feel it. Exhale. Let that go. And then from there, we can have more command of like, do I need to go into this or do I simply need to feel this more? and go into it,
Yeah.
meaning like if you have tools around parts work, IFS, or like guided self-inquiry, sometimes we need to go a little bit deeper. Sometimes we just need to like, oh wow, I'm feeling some shame.
Mhm.
I'm gonna feel that. I'm gonna let that pass through.
So is that it takes 7 seconds to, like, you need to sit for 7 seconds so you can really tap into something like that?
To respond
Okay.
to it.
Okay.
Because I think what I'm saying, most of the time when we experience an emotion, we can really react, like anger. It's like, so it can be really reactive, like, what the fuck, you just did this thing.
Mhm.
Whereas if I sit with the anger, allow it to move through me, then I can respond like, hey, I'm noticing I'm feeling angry right now, and it's bringing up these feelings for me.
Right. Wow. Yeah. How much better would our lives be if we had this 7-second rule that anytime something comes up, a trigger happens, we feel anger, we want to react, just sit with it for 7 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Create that space. Like you're creating presence within that moment. So
Yeah. Feel it to heal it.
feel it to heal it. Okay. And then this one's a big one, but we'll end on it.
Cool.
And it's, if you could compress your entire philosophy into one mantra, what would it be? I know that's so hard. You can pick one that comes to mind as well.
I'm like going through the Rolodex of
Right.
philosophies now.
I know.
So one mantra. Initially, what was coming up is I am enough and I love infinitely. And another mantra that I really love, that I think condenses a lot of this work that I do, is I am shameless, I am fearless, and I am doubtless.
Shameless, fearless, and doubtless.
And that eradicates fear across all timelines. Because fear in the past is shame, fear in the future is doubt, and then fear in the now is fear.
Oh, I love that. Right. You're sending it backwards and sending it forwards from right now.
Yeah.
The second you say it. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that until you explained it. So
yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, man. Do you have anything else for me before we wrap up here?
Man, thanks for having me on.
Of course.
This was an honor.
Yeah.
And yeah, excited to have you on my podcast here in the future.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a joy getting to know you more and like feel you in this space and feel your presence. Yeah, you have a very strong presence.
Thank you, man.
And yeah, it feels good to be around you. So this is great, man.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. I'm excited to grow in the studio and beyond with you and to do good things, to change men's lives.
Yeah. Change the world.
Yes, sir.
One podcast at a time.
One podcast at a time. Do you want to tell my listeners where they can find you if they're interested in following you, learning more, just understanding more about the work you do?
Yeah. I'm pretty active on Instagram. That's where I have a lot of my content. It's JPK Experience. And that's the name on my YouTube as well. jpkexperience.com is my website. And yeah, we'll also be starting a new Instagram, The Cultivated Man.
Keep an eye out for it.
Yep. And yeah, that's where y'all can find me.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course.